All right, hey everybody, welcome into a impromptu edition of the old school halftime program. We had not planned on doing anything today. Ravi, somebody reached out to me late in the first half, like, "Hey, are you guys going to do anything?" Wasn't planning on it, and then a North Dakota touchdown. It's tied now at 7. So, hey, why not hop on for 20 minutes? That was weird. That was a weird first half.
I mean, was it?
Fair.
I mean, did anything happen from Nebraska's standpoint that you could not have predicted? The offensive line, bad. The defense, not good.
Yep.
Kind of dumb mistakes.
Yep.
He had the almost gave away the field possession on the block kick.
Mm-hmm.
You had the fumble by Amar. You've had some drop passes by the receivers again. I mean, nothing happened that you're like, oh, that was super weird and fluky. We weren't watching Iowa and South Dakota State here with 2 safeties and a field goal.
That's true. It's a very normal score.
That's a weird game. What we just saw was Nebraska being Nebraska and North Dakota running basically what they needed to do to perfection.
Yeah, that's true. Nebraska, if you're just joining us and you haven't watched the game, I'd be very surprised if you're like, wait, what? Nebraska is tied at 7? Indeed, they are. So I guess the weirdness, Ravi, comes. I mean, like you said, where does the weirdness come? Some timeouts late. Yeah.
Is weird.
The score. Yeah, Nebraska, they have, again, Ravi, like last week, they begin with a really good offensive drive. Let me pull up the play-by-play chart. They begin the game, 8 plays, 87 yards. They go right down the field, finishes up with an Anthony Grant touchdown, a 19-yard touchdown run. They fumble on their next drive on the first play. Then they go 3 and out. Stop me if you have heard this before. A missed field goal for Nebraska after a 12-yard or 12-play, 61-yard drive. And it's funny, man, like yesterday when John and I were doing our keys, I was not trying to be a smartass, but one of the things that I said was, I want to see them in a field goal situation. Like, I want to see them if they have to kick a field goal. And so, like, when they got stopped, I was like, okay, here we go. This is going to be interesting. What's going to happen here? They missed a field goal. And here's, I guess, maybe where the weirdness comes. 16 plays, 80 yards, almost 7 minutes off the clock. I think, what did the announce? What did Brandon? Yeah, what did Brandon Gaudin say at the end? Like 4 timeouts on the drive, including a bunch of them by Nebraska.
Three of them were Nebraska. Two of them were Nebraska.
That's the reason that North Dakota was able to do that. They go for it on 4th down in one of the funniest moments of all time, where the players are cheering, the ref is pointing the other way, and I'm like, bro, they picked up a first down. What are we doing right now?
He got that first down by like 1.5 yards, and Nebraska thought they stopped him, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
And the ref was pointing the wrong way, and they're like, oh, by the way, it's a first down for North Dakota, obviously. No, I don't. I mean, honestly, the weirdest part for me was I didn't understand the timeouts at the end of the first half by Frost.
Yeah.
That I'm not really sure what he stood to gain there, because the first one came with like 54 seconds left.
Yeah.
So he was counting on his offense, which hasn't moved at all since the first drive, really.
Very strange, man.
You know, he's taking timeouts when North Dakota could have gotten sped up, and that could have been a problem for them.
Yeah.
Like if when the clock's ticking down like that, when you're near the goal line, you know, you can get sped up and kind of screw some things up, but Frost gave him all the time in the world with those timeouts.
Yeah, he did. Brett says on Twitter, we are good at starting, not so much at finishing. Yeah, this is a team that obviously has been putting together really good game plans to begin the game. They did it last week. And, you know, it's funny too, Ravi. Like last week, my thought was, hey, you've had all offseason to plan the first drive. Like that should be in a way like the best drive of the season. They did it again this week. Props to them. They put together another really good drive. And then after that, let me add up the totals then real fast. So after that drive, they had, let's not count the kneel down. They had 16 plays for 84 yards. So that is not a good ratio.
That was basically North Dakota's last possession was the rest of their half.
Yeah, and
Nebraska's rest of the half.
Yeah, and we obviously weren't listening to Frost at the end, but Troy commenting says Scott Frost just said our defense is keeping them in the game. WTF? How many 3rd and 4th downs did they give up to an FCS team? Can October 1st get here any sooner? I mean, in fairness to Frost on that comment, I mean the defense did keep them in it. You know, look, they did have a ton of missed tackles, man. The missed tackles are a problem.
Biggest the biggest concern, and listen, Nebraska probably will still win this game. I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think
like
so.
that's probably the odds on, even though it's probably don't feel as good about it now as you did an hour ago. But the offensive line play and the missed tackles on the defense are not quick fixes.
Dude, no. The offensive line is horrible.
This is an FCS team that is kind of waxing the offensive line and then just impose their will on the defensive line in terms of getting that. I mean, they've kind of done it all half.
Yeah.
Like North Dakota's moved the ball. I get that was their first points at the end of the half there, but North Dakota's moved the ball and the defensive line doesn't look like they can. I mean, it doesn't look like they're winning the matchups consistently against the North Dakota offensive line. Like North Dakota's moving them, and this time of possession thing might end up being a problem for Nebraska. It's like 22-9 or something.
Yeah,
like 21-9 right now.
So how about this? So yeah, John just tweeted it out. Huskers had 9 minutes and 22 seconds of time of possession. So that means North Dakota had 21-38. But how about this, Ravi? The drive that ended in the field goal miss, that was 5 minutes and 16 seconds. So well over half of their time of possession took place on that one single drive. And it didn't even result in points.
If we learned anything against Northwestern, it's that this team may not age well into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
In terms of, I mean, they looked gassed at the end of the game against Northwestern.
Yeah, and they don't, like, there were hands on their hips in the first half, man, on defense.
Well, yeah, the defense has been on the field for a long time. I don't feel super convinced that if, again, this sounds crazy, but if North Dakota drags Nebraska into the deep waters and says, hey, we're going to try and just pound it at you and control possession into the fourth quarter, are you super confident that's a good place for Nebraska to be?
Yeah, seriously, man. They need to come out and because they're getting the ball first, because remember, North Dakota had it first. They went 11 plays. They drove to the Nebraska 37-yard line. They actually got to the 32. They had a 5-yard penalty. They ended up punting it. Nebraska is going to get the ball first to begin the second half. Looking Ravi at some overall numbers real quick in this game. Casey Thompson, only 9 total passes, 7 of 9. Everything comes back to 7 of 9. 7 of 9. 84 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Anthony Grant leading the way, 8 carries, 50 yards. It's so weird, dude. Looking at the box score, the Nebraska box score side is so small. Grant has 8 carries for 50 yards. A.J. Allen, 3 for 16. Casey Thompson
haven't had the ball.
They have not had the ball. And then let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys caught the ball. Marcus Washington had a couple of catches early.
Yeah, the first drive, I thought, right?
Yeah, and then he kind of disappeared. I believe, did Trey Palmer have both of his catches on the first drive, or was it the first 2 drives?
It wasn't anything after the second drive for sure.
Okay, and then Alante Brown had one catch
on the first drive, I think, as well.
Yeah, for 21 yards. Omar Manning, we did see an Omar Manning. Did you notice, Ravi, that they mentioned Omar Manning had a concussion last week, which there had been whispers about a concussion.
Yeah, that hadn't been official. But
yes, so they heard that from Frost, obviously, when they had their meetings with him. So,
yeah, it's so weird to look at the stats here because Nebraska just hasn't had the ball.
Yeah, it is. So few guys just touched it in the first half.
And it's weird that North Dakota State has had the ball so much and not really scored at all. I mean, besides that last possession of the half there.
Mm-hmm.
But this is again, I still think Nebraska probably ends up winning this game, but this is the perfect recipe for North Dakota. Like they are
shortening the game.
Yeah, shorten the game, long drives. That drive to end the half was picture perfect for them. Yeah. That was the best thing they possibly could have done.
And they go for it. They go for it on fourth down. What a ballsy call, man. Like in that moment, they bring the players out there. And I'll be honest, I thought that after they brought him out and they didn't get Nebraska to jump.
I thought they were going to do field goal. Yeah.
Me too. And so when they came back out in college, you're allowed to call 2 straight timeouts, unlike the NFL. And so when they brought him back out, there was still a part of me that was like, oh, they're
going to do it again.
They're going to do it again. But I saw a lot of people on Twitter in that moment like, you got to go. And it does make sense, obviously, right? It's an FCS school. Why wouldn't you want to go for it?
Yeah, you're on the road. Like, you're taking home the paycheck regardless. Like, have some balls and just go for it, right? Yeah. Which I loved. If I'm a fan of a school, that's how I want them. It was like, I don't know if you were watching the end of the Appalachian State game.
Yes.
Like, they went for 2 and they went for the win and they didn't get it. And then they still had a chance to win and missed the 2 again to tie it. But if I'm in that spot, like go for 2 or like go for it. Either go for 2 or go for fourth and 1 when you're in that situation. Like, I liked that when I think it was on the opening drive, it seemed like they were going to go for it on 4th down from the 32 before they got the penalty.
Yeah.
Like, they are playing this game
perfectly,
aggressively, but within themselves, right? Like, they're not overextending. We still haven't, listen, they talked about all these trick plays and stuff coming out. We haven't seen anything in that sense yet.
Great point.
So,
Great point.
Are they just setting Nebraska up to, like, hit them in the stomach there? Because there was a lot of talk about North Dakota trick plays, and we have not seen even a sniff of one so far.
Eric Stu Manji points out on Twitter, North Dakota is on pace to run 80 plays against Nebraska today. Yeah, sure enough, 22 passes on the dot, 18 carries. So, 40 plays so far. And man, like that, not to look ahead.
Northwestern run, like 86 last week?
They ran 85 plays. Yeah. And the thing that I keep thinking about is Oklahoma. And, like, we certainly should live in the moment given how Nebraska has played so far today. But that Oklahoma game.
You feel real good about Georgia Southern right now?
No, I don't. What would you say, Ravi? We're about halfway through. There's like 10 minutes left in halftime. What would you say is the most concerning thing for you in this game? Not big picture, but in this moment in time in this game, what's the biggest issue?
I mean, I think it's a tie between the offensive line and tackling.
Yeah.
And the defense in general is concerning because North Dakota's moved the ball, and I don't look at anyone on North Dakota's offense and been like, oh, that guy should be playing at a higher level. They all look like they belong at FCS, and they're just out executing Nebraska.
Yeah.
So that's concerning. But if you make me pick one, I think it has to be the O-line. There's no one on that North Dakota defensive line that should scare you or be able to get the kind of pressure that they've been getting. And I know they're a hyper aggressive defense, but I gotta go offensive line because Nebraska is going to see a lot better defensive lines than they're seeing today or that they saw against Northwestern.
Yeah.
And the offensive line has left a lot to be desired.
Yeah, it has, man. It really has. Casey Thompson's gotten hit. You know, he had to go to the blue tent at a moment in time in this game.
Which I don't believe was for a drink of water like the broadcast.
So I missed it. So because I had to take Banks out real fast, and so I came back in and saw the start and I saw some people in the group chat making jokes, and I was very confused about what was going on. Is that what the announcer said?
Yeah, so he went to the tent to get checked out, like you do. It's a medical tent,
correct? Not a drinking the water tent.
Yeah, not a water fountain tent. And the announcer's like, "Oh, he just went and got a drink of water, and he's ready to go." And I was like,
nice.
You don't know that. You don't know what's in the tent.
God, that's hilarious.
It was dumb. It was super dumb. But
comment from Sam: their play calling on third, and he's talking about North Dakota on 3rd and 4th down is scary. They firmly believe in the ability to run between the tackles in these situations and get it. Ugh.
And nothing has discouraged them from that, right? Like when they've needed 1 or 2 yards, they've gotten it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really. And the running, honestly, their running game has kind of kept them on schedule in a lot of these drives. And I have, honestly, if I was North Dakota, I have more confidence in their running game than their passing game right now. I don't feel great about Schuster on some of these like rollouts. It seems like he gets he gets a guy in his face, and he's not necessarily got the either athleticism or arm talent to get the ball around him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they're right. It's one of those things where North Dakota feels like they can just slam it right at Nebraska, and they're doing it.
Yeah, and at a certain point, I mean, they've obviously already reached it. At a certain point, North Dakota in this game, like, went from like, "Hey, we could do this, guys," like, like the usual rah-rah stuff. "Hey, guys, we could. Come on, guys." They went from saying that to saying like, "Guys, we can do this.
We could actually do this.
They can do this." They went into the half and they're thinking we can do this. Meanwhile, you just wonder the body language on Nebraska right now is, I mean, it is what it is. It is. It's what it's been a lot lately. And so how are they feeling? Because unlike
I saw somebody mention on either, I don't know if it was on our comments here or if it was on Twitter, but they said that they didn't think Nebraska looked interested in this game to start. So if that's even a little bit true, where are they at now?
Yeah. I was told this morning from someone, a little sleepy practices towards the end of the week this week for Nebraska. Sleepy practices.
Here's the thing, like, Nebraska is not in a place to take anybody for granted at this point. Like, that's why I was adamant with you guys that I thought the number was too high for Northwestern because Nebraska didn't deserve to be a double-digit favorite.
You said it all off season.
Against any Power 5 school. I said that as soon as the lines came out, like in June. Yeah. I was like, nope. Because I think we did guess the lines on these games when they came out.
We did. Remember? And I screwed it up when we did Northwestern, and I think I gave you the line on accident like an idiot.
But like there's no Big Ten team that I think Nebraska should be double-digit favorites over. And now it's going from out just the Big Ten teams to, okay, Nebraska can't take anybody for granted. Nebraska can't just roll out of bed and dominate North Dakota, apparently.
Yeah.
Like, that's a huge red flag.
Yeah, it absolutely is. An email from Money Chris. He says, I'm having serious doubts about my prediction of 2 wins for the season. I may have drank too much Kool-Aid and overestimated it. Look, on my, Josh, I don't know if Josh Otson is in here right now. I'm guessing he's not. But Josh Otson made a graphic. God, I wish that I could. Maybe I can switch it over. All right, I'm going to try something real fast. Hey, there we go. It's the Connor Happer Show. All right, let's see if I can find it.
Not the Connor Happer Show.
No, it is not. Let's see. I might be able to find it. There it is. Oh no. Oh no. Folks. Oh no. Josh made that graphic. He made that graphic. Because John said at some point this summer, oh boy.
Let me ask you this though, all right? So somebody hit me up on Twitter, and I think it was tongue in cheek, but somebody's going, hey, if he goes 0-4 and you're sitting on October 1st at 0-4, does he get fired in season? To which I said, yes. If he goes 0-4, he's getting fired. But
0-5, it'd have to be 0-5 for the record. 0-5.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 0-4 going into Indiana.
Yeah.
And whatever. So, because it's the day after the Indiana game that it technically falls, right? That the buyout falls.
So it's actually the day of. It's October 1st. Okay, I've always just kind of taken it to be like, I mean, I don't know.
It would be a little hilarious if they fired him like game of the morning. Like
oh boy.
But okay. But so seriously though, at what record going into Indiana or after Indiana would you seriously be like, this might actually happen? Because I know you've been pretty adamant all along that you didn't think he was getting fired in season.
I mean, if we're entertaining 0-5, that.
Well, 0-5, obviously. Like like if you're 0-4 or 1-5 after that game, like I think you're getting fired.
I have started changing my tune a little.
To FCS North Dakota and Georgia Southern. I think if he loses either one of these two games and doesn't like blow out Oklahoma, I think he gets fired.
I mean, if we're really entertaining this, and I think it's a serious discussion now, this game is very important for in-season discussions.
Yeah, this game is not. There is no guarantee that this is a Nebraska win today.
Yeah.
So I think honestly, if he loses either one of these games, I think that he gets fired on October 2nd.
Yeah, and I guess I'll add this one more thing. I wonder if it's still like October 15th, just given the bye week nature of after Purdue. Because after Purdue, they do. I know. It's just like I don't know. I just kind of wonder about it.
It's a lost season at that point. You know what I mean? Like if you're you're not salvaging anything from this season.
Yeah, and look, maybe I'm just not being harsh enough, but there are a lot of people saying like, look, how do you let him coach another game if they lose today? And look, that's a fair point. 0-2, and the second loss comes against
North Dakota.
Yeah, and I guess one final thing, Robbie, because the game's probably going to start in about 2 minutes here, at least on my stream, because I'm a little behind. But I pointed this out earlier this week on Sportsmanlike Conduct. Of all the things that have ended in the last 20 plus years, not winning, 9 games anymore, not winning conference championships anymore, not going to bowls, like all that stuff. There's one thing still besides the sellout streak, the fake sellout streak. There's one thing there's one thing on the field that has not changed. And that is that they have not lost to an FCS team. That's the one thing. Callahan didn't do it. Frank didn't do it. Bo didn't do it. He got close. Mike Riley didn't do it. Nope. Frost hasn't done it. No one has done it. And the closest that it's ever came, obviously McNeese State in 2014 was close. They beat South Dakota State by 14 in 2010. And then the week after the audio tape in 2013, if I remember right, Nebraska was down 2 scores, but they won, by a few touchdowns. It was fairly comfortable. This is the one final thing that has not happened. And so, I mean, I don't know. I've just had that in the back of my mind.
Is that the straw that breaks the camel's back? I mean, maybe.
Yeah. It's
losing to an FCS school is a pretty easy, hey, we're done here.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
All right. You think they win?
I'm going to say yes, but I'm at 55%. I don't feel good about it.
Yeah, I know, man. I think they do too. I cannot believe how not confident I am in it happening.
No, it's unreal. I can't believe I'm hemming and hawing over do they beat North Dakota.
Yeah, by the way, I'm looking at FanDuel right now, promo code 1620. The line for the game is basically the second half. 13.5 is the spread. The total on the game is 42.5, so that's gone down considerably. It's a live line, obviously. North Dakota is now plus 670 on the money line. Plus 670.
So they're a little more confident than we are.
Indeed they are. All right, game's about to start. We appreciate everyone for joining us. I know we didn't preview this at all. I literally was asked by a listener, Scott, like, hey, are you guys doing this? And it was like, no. And then as North Dakota went down the field, I thought we should probably hop on. So I appreciate Ravi because he went from getting the text from me to hopping on within about 3 minutes. Ravi, much appreciated for hopping on this. Do you have anything to plug for anything after the game tonight?
I'm doing a podcast. Check out my Twitter. It's not my own podcast. I'm going on a Bet USA podcast this week.
Awesome.
I think to talk about, ironically enough, Nebraska coaching candidates. So,
oh boy,
here we go.
And then overreaction. Connor Happer, Damon Benning tonight on 1620 The Zone, 1019 The Keg, 1620 The Zone TV. They'll have you covered immediately following the game. 402-951-1620. I mean, if you want to get in line right now, feel free. Ravi, man, much appreciated hopping on at late notice. Enjoy the second half.
All right, see you.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.